Okay, let's talk about dancing. So, at the National Army Museum, where I used to work, there is a booklet of sheet music called the Caledonian Quadrilles, right here. It was written in, well, we think either 1838 or 1848, we're not quite sure. So what's a quadrille? In the 19th century, a quadrille is a type of dance. It's a type of social dance. You dance it with 8 people, so 4 couples all facing each other in a square set. And it's also usually about 20 minutes long. So that means 2 things. That means, one, that you want to be very careful who you choose to dance with, but it also means that it tends to be split up into 4 or more mini dances that are all very different. So, in the late 19th century, you begin to see an increased interest in Scotland from the rest of the UK and, to an extent, Europe. This is for a few different reasons. Sir Walter Scott has just published his novels, his romantic novels, his poems, and King George IV, formerly the Prince Regent, has recently been on a state visit to Scotland in 1823. That was very much talked about. In other words, Scotland is popular, Scotland is fashionable. Young people like to dance, so this led to the publication of a number of Caledonian quadrilles. Now, you'd be forgiven for thinking that something called a Caledonian quadrille has lots of Scottish steps in it, like jigs and reels, but no, that would have been a little bit too radical for Regency England. So instead, Caledonian quadrilles had traditional Scottish tunes, Scottish music, but the dance steps were decidedly English. They took steps from popular dances of the time, like Payne's First Set and Hart's Lancers. Now, the most famous version of the Caledonian quadrille was published by someone called Chivers in 1821, and Chivers originally published both music and the dance steps. And in the words of historical dance specialist Ellis Rogers, the arrangement of the music is less than inspiring and other tunes were often substituted. That's a dance diss. It does mean that even though the dance steps were extremely popular, the music was generally accepted to be rubbish. So cut back to the sheet music that I found at the National Army Museum. This was music written by someone called Louis-Antoine Julien, and he was a struggling artist until he wasn't. He realised that he could make a living and a decent amount of money selling dance music to people. So the Scottish theme, the soldiers of the 42nd Highlanders on the cover, that's all a big marketing ploy to sell his music. Fashionable young people would have known about the Caledonian quadrille. They probably would have danced it many times, so they would have bought into the Scottish theme, purchased the music, added it to their party repertoire, and danced their decidedly English steps to it. In the words of my boyfriend, it's like Orientalism, but for Scotland.